Welcome to Simply Happy Conversations, a podcast that teaches you how to create a clutter-free, functional and simply happy life. I'm Narelle King, a professional organiser who supports families with practical steps to simplify their lives and create a more organised home. I'm passionate about supporting neurodivergent families and individuals like myself. What if productivity could feel like steady momentum instead of boom and bust with ADHD? In this ADHD series on Simply Happy Conversations, I'm joined by Caroline from Outside the Box ADHD Coaching. She is an ADHD coach who helps adults design systems to work with their brains and not against them. We are unpacking what burnout really looks like for ADHDers, how the burnout cycle starts, and the small tweaks that can sustain your productivity. We'll also pinpoint common energy depleters and share some self-regulation ideas that you can use today. This conversation is a video recording that you can watch on YouTube. Let's jump into this Simply Happy guest conversation with Caroline for ADHD-friendly systems that respect your energy. Today on Simply Happy Conversations, I'm talking with Caroline from Outside the Box. I've asked her back as a guest in our ADHD series because she works as a coach with late diagnosed adults with ADHD. And today she's going to share with us about ADHD, productivity, and also trying to avoid burnout. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you, Narelle. So nice to be back.
I know it is. It was actually episode 76 was the last time. I think we're up to this will be about 215 or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So where does time go, isn't it? So if you could only have two apps on your phone, what would they be? And you can choose whether you want to be just Carola, whichever person, because obviously two apps is very, very small, depending on what hat you want to wear.
Yeah. And when you sprung that question on me, I went, oh my God, that's just too hard. I'm sure everyone can familiarise themselves with that feeling. So I have two very different identities in my life, ADHD coach and I'm a belly dancer. So I might pick one from each. How's that?
That sounds great. That's perfect. Yeah.
So I couldn't live without my my WhatsApp, which is just for pretty much one purpose. That's staying in contact with my dancer friends, my dance teacher, and just keeping that whole feeling alive of being involved in dance and our community and stuff like that. And for my other hat, I actually couldn't. Actually, probably the number one, I couldn't live without my Google Calendar.
Yeah, definitely. No, I know.
All sorts of trouble.
And does yours talk to you and tell you what's coming up, or it's just a visual reminders that pop up?
Yes, I'm an auditory sensitive person, hypersensitive. Yeah. So nothing beeps at me. I turn everything off. And, I keep it's my choice to go and engage with the device. It doesn't talk to me because that would drive me crazy.
Yes. But someone with ADHD, I need that verbal reminder. So I love when it tells me because I'm visual. I look at it and I'll miss dates. That's my problem. Like it might say the 12th and I'm like, is that yesterday or is that next week? I can't. Terrible with numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear your processing.
Yes, definitely.
Mentality strengths there.
Yeah.
So you work with what's good for you, don't you?
Definitely. So why is supporting adults with ADHD to be productive but also without burnout really important to you?
Oh, okay. Several reasons. That's what is presented to me most of the time when I'm working with clients, and I see the incredible impact being on the edge of burnout or in burnout has on the person and then, their greater circle. So their family, their partners, their work, the things that they love, and it just sucks the life out of you. So educating about what burnout is and how to recognise those things is, I think, part of the process of helping people see when that might be on the cards, is because it is so common. Do you like a bit of stats?
Yeah, I love stats. As long as I don't have to read them, I love listening to them.
So in 2023, a study by Swinburne University found that 78% of Australian workers with ADHD reported signs of burnout, whereas only 47% of neurotypical workers do.
Wow, that's huge, isn't it?
Yes. So that's a big reason. Another big reason is I've burnt out 3 times. So I really understand the disastrous effects it has on your body, on your self-confidence, on all the other things that come with burning out. You know, I always say I'm a slow learner. I had to do it 3 times to get the lesson. But anyway, yeah.
And I'm sure most of your clients, you'd find the same thing. Some of them maybe take a few times or have maybe been on the verge of burnout. Maybe something's happened and they've taken a break, or their body's just stopped in another way, like maybe a broken arm or a broken leg. And then they've realized, actually, I was on the verge of burnout.
Yeah. So there is a cycle of burnout, and and that's why the 3 times is, you know, there was a cycle there, and I, you know, didn't listen well enough.
Yeah.
Those 2 times.
So what does it sort of present itself as in ADHD in particular?
Yeah, so it can look like feeling just stuck no matter how hard you try. You know, you just feel like you can never sort of break through this feeling of, you know, swimming against the current. I can never get ahead. It feels like that. Chronic exhaustion, so completely worn out all the time. And even if you're taking, you know, the weekend to rest, you get back on Monday and you're still worn out. So it really looks like that. You'll notice burnout with someone with ADHD when the things that normally are part of their interest-based nervous system, the things that they find interesting and engaging and exciting, they stop enjoying those things, stop engaging with them. Increased emotional reactivity.
Yeah.
So very quick to react to someone's glance or slightly, you know, aggravated voice or something like that, being irritable, frustrated. And one that you may sort of not assume is actually overcommitting. So actually taking more on than when you're already overwhelmed. It sort of is seen to be stemming from this desire to prove capability because you're in this stuck, or because you sort of can't, well, I must just, you know, I'll just say yes to more and I'll get more of that adrenaline rush and I'll get, you know, something will make me feel better. So, yeah, they're the ways it can look for most people with ADHD.
Oh, yes, I can relate to that, in particular that last one. And it is around that dopamine. Oh, just do some more and then I might actually feel a little bit better.
Yep.
But, yeah, you then feel more exhausted and it sort of just builds up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what are some of the things then that can help people move out of burnout?
I guess, you know how I was talking about the burnout cycle just a minute?
Yeah.
I think to move out of burnout, you might need to know where you are in the cycle. So is that, I'll just briefly
go through the cycle. Yeah, that'd be great.
Then we can talk about, you know, how you get out of it. There's the cycle starts with excitement and overcommitment. So the thing you just said. So taking on too much due to that interest-based nervous system, pressure and urgency, which are all, you know, those very handy ADHD interest-based nervous system tools for engagement, for action, but they get overused when you start on this cycle of burnout. Then the second stage is then overworking, because you can see how that happens next, yeah? And you're overworking and ignoring warning signs. So pushing past mental and physical capabilities. If I just get past this, then, you know, I'll be able to rest. I'm sure that's familiar.
Yes. Especially in the work. And I mean, because you were a professional organizer, it's hard because, I don't know, I just love helping people and seeing, and sometimes it's urgency, isn't it, in some of the situations that you're helping a family. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want, and it's that giving part as well that makes you feel good. But when you're depleted already, it's actually going to have the opposite effect. And that's where this cycle starts to pick up. So the third part of the cycle is the burnout hits. And it's deep depletion, frustration and loss of motivation, even for the things we normally love, which is what I was talking about before. So then we go into shutdown after burnout. You know, struggling to even complete things that are so easy that you are usually doing and usually find really, you know, not a problem. So that's a real sign that, you know, if shutdowns come, then, you know, it's serious, to take notice. And then, of course, the last stage is going in, because you can't do anything, you go into recovery and you start to feel better. And guess what? You start to get excited and overcommit again. So we're back in the cycle.
You're back in the cycle. Yes. And you know, it's so interesting that you went through that full cycle, because that would be the type of clients that I generally work with, but I will be maybe working with them in that recovery that they just can't get started, can't do the things because they're burnt out, basically.
And I think in the professional organising space, and for those getting help from professional organisers, in that recovery phase, they can't think their way through what they need. So they need this other person to help them with the organising, to set up the systems, because when the brain's in that much burnout, it can't, you know, the executive functions of planning, organising, sense of time, all of those things just go offline, because the body's gone into, you know, into shutdown recovery. We now need to, you know, take care of this body physiologically. So let's just switch everything off in the brain. So where you had executive functions that already, you know, taxed by not having enough dopamine and norepinephrine, now we have, you know, even more shutdown in those areas, that frontal lobe of the brain. Yeah.
So what's some of the things then, like, that actually drain people's energies that, you know, they might get trapped into, and they're, you know, back into that cycle again? What's some of the things you see?
Oh, gosh, that's a very broad question. It's very individual.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge element, you know, aside from this, that is quite common with, especially women with ADHD. I see it in my male clients as well, which is, especially late diagnosed, you sort of built all these strategies in life to try and, you know, make up for, because everybody's given you these messages, or, you know, why don't, you know, you just need to do this, or you just need to be more that. So they become creating this, what I call a saboteur, a people-pleasing saboteur. And I think that is a trait that we see quite commonly with the burnout, is that everybody else's needs come before mine. And I think if we're going to go to the core of it, I think that's a big part.
Yeah, definitely. It's those stories, isn't it, that you've taken on from a younger age. Yeah. And especially if you are late diagnosed, because it's like then you've got to rewrite those stories and give yourself the the empathy and the time that you need, and take away the shoulds.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so what are some of the effective strategies for building then sustainable productivity but reducing the risk of burnout?
Yeah. So noticing where you are in that cycle will determine, where you're going to put your focus to move out and then get back to some productivity. Because, I'm not going to, people throw around this word burnout quite a lot right now. But if you go to the actual description from the World Health Organization, it's quite a serious, chronic clinical condition. So, for those listening, if your burnout is the clinical sign of burnout, there may be 1 to 2 years of recovery. I just don't want to lightly brush over that. So this may be way down the track.
Definitely
in clinical burnout. But we also see, which was the kind of, I think the kind of burnout I experienced was, and I talk about this on, I wrote 3 blogs on this topic. So.
Oh, cool. We can definitely link to that.
But my type of burnout, and my personality makes a big difference as well, was that I completely detached from my body. So I wasn't listening to those signs, and my body just shut down. Yeah. And I had no choice. Like, I couldn't move. So if that's the kind of burnout someone's experiencing, it's going to be a while before you can even think about what it is that you do. But there's other people out there who are really expressing, and that's why I say on the edge of burnout. Like, you're feeling the signs, and you're kind of really realizing this exhaustion is coming, but it's not quite at that stage of total body shutdown. So just want to put that in there as far as that. So I'm going to start with, the things that you need to address first before you get to putting in new sustainable productivity kinds of strategies and systems and things like that. So you need to be taking care of the things that deplete your energy and your attention, because that's the thing that is really going to start to rebuild your ability to get back into productivity or organising, obviously. So interruptions is the first one. So interruptions create this, whole schema of competing demands, and it's all fueled by expectations. And it's also impacted by this, we all feel this, of being instantly available to everybody. So really taking care of that. And I brought it up, actually, this first thing we talked about in this podcast was like, I don't have notifications.
Yeah.
My phone has been on silent for probably 30 years. I don't let it interrupt me.
Yeah.
I am in charge of the phone.
Yeah, so you've set those boundaries that you need, even around your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's the first one. Can be controversial subject here, so take this in however it matches for you. Masking.
Oh, yeah.
Taking care of masking. So being able to create the environment that suits you and where you want to be with what you want to share with other colleagues, family members, friends, but you be comfortable with that. So I'm not one to advocate unmasking or masking. I think it's an individual choice, and there's very, very good reasons for keeping yourself safe through a certain level of masking.
Definitely. There's certain situations where it's needed. You have to use it
And I want to highlight a great episode, very controversial episode by Dr. Russell Barkley on his YouTube channel where he talks about it. And he talks about that everybody masks. Every single person does it. It's just to what degree. And we all sort of need to, in some circumstances, do that. But where can you get relief from the masking? Where can you be just yourself? But we know we're going to have parts where we're going to need that. We all do. So that's because that depletes your energy.
Yeah.
Such a hard work.
Yeah. And do you know what? That's one of the ones I think you see a lot with kids, is especially who are in education systems and it's maybe not suited to them. That is when you'll see that burnout because they've had to mask within the setting and they've burnt out and they kind of tend school then. That's where I've seen a lot of it.
Well, they can't learn because all of the energy is going towards this other activity. Self-regulation. So working with your flow of emotions and attention. Probably a great resource that I have that's free for this is my guide for productivity and flow. And it's quite a process. It's a really chunky guide. It's not a one-sheeter, but it actually has in there how you can actually find your own energy and attention spaces throughout the day and actually put them to time frames and to activities. So you have this lovely map of energy. Task initiation is probably the thing I work on most with clients. It's that ability to get started. And I was talking a lot earlier about interest-based nervous system. So the interest-based nervous system is what's been identified by Dr. William Dodson as a second nervous system that ADHDers have that isn't based on what he views as neurotypicals have, which is the importance-based nervous system. And how many times have you gone, why did I do that? It's so important.
It's because boring,
it's not
usually.
a way of engaging with it. But it might be really important to you.
Yeah. But it's not
your way of engaging.
Yeah.
So through task initiation, it's finding ways to start a task that aren't really draining and energy depleting. So that forcing yourself or putting yourself in situations to make yourself start a task, that is energy draining. So finding the ways that are more naturally flow ways of starting for you. So that's what I work on a lot.
Yeah. And I find that's what professional organisers, a lot of them do. If you do work with, in particular, ADHD is body doubling, isn't it?
Yes.
They might say, oh, we're going to do the pantry, but next minute they're doing something like admin, and it's like, let's just keep going because obviously me being in this space, I'll get it out, but you keep going because you're doing the task that you've been telling me about, and now that I'm here, you're doing it. So, that body doubling really helps, doesn't it?
It does, hugely, yeah. The other depleter is working memory. And everybody complains, I've got such a bad memory. I actually don't believe in that there is any bad memories in people's minds. I call it a glitchy access system.
Yep.
Like it's glitchy in retrieval of the memory, not that you've got a bad memory. So if we can just delete that thinking, that would be great. I think that would take you a long way to stop that energy depletion. So getting things into ways that become like, and this came from Russell Barkley as well, create your own portable hard drive for your brain.
Yep. Thank you for joining me for today's Simply Happy conversation. Sick of wasting time looking for your keys, wallet, or that one charger that always disappears? Your space needs visual anchors. Grab the ADHD-friendly organisation checklist, a 10-minute setup, a weekly reset, and troubleshooting map to adapt your space. Create an environment that works with your brain so that you can stop losing or forgetting things and start leaving on time with your sanity. Head to simplyhappy.com.au and click on the resource tab to get instant access today. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.